All right, can you guys hear me now? Let me do a sound check on this. Testing, testing. All right. And we're back and we're here. Sorry about earlier. It's why it's the privilege of going live. Sometimes our stuff doesn't work perfect. But welcome to our live on pricing your home in a shifting market. And it feels like it's been shifting since I started, and I'm sure it will continue shifting till the end of time. But for one of the first times ever, it's shifting down in a more meaningful way than it has in a very long time. So, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for pricing your home and your home sale adventure in general? We're going to talk about that. Now, keep in mind, whenever we do lives and whenever we're talking about the market and housing, we are not talking about your specific situation. Every single town is going to be different. Every single everything is going to be different. Even two houses on the same block with different people and different experiences may be different. So if you want an exact plan for your situation, let me know. Reach out. But for now, we're talking about just generally what the heck is going on. And unfortunately, my dogs and my family are all very busy and we record from home. So there may be some background sound. It is what it is for now, at least. So before we do anything else, let's take a look at what the heck is going on with the market. I'm going to share this guy right here. All right. So when we look at homes, all bedrooms, all sizes, but specifically homes, we're not looking at condos, vacant land, anything else that could mess up our numbers. Manufactured homes, I know we're still homes, but they're typically, when we do manufactured on this, going to be looking at homes in parks, which we don't want to see. So we're looking at just residential homes in Lewis, Thurston, and the rest of the MLS. If you guys want Grace Harbor, what have you, actually, you know what? Let's do Grace Harbor, just because we have some listings out there. And we'll do the entire MLS as well. When we look at the market overall, sales price, most common sales price in Thurston, Lewis, and Grays Harbor counties are down. Okay, prices are not looking good. When we look at the number of new listings in Thurston County, it's up 20%. Sorry, guys. My goodness. I think there's a possible time. I think. When we look at general, the numbers going on, number of new listings are up year over year by a lot, 20%, 30% by a lot, right? When we look at the number of homes for sale, again, up by a lot, 27% for Thurston. Entire MLS is making that not look good. Up 27% for Thurston, 3.4% year over year for Lewis County, 21% for Grays Harbor County. There's a lot of options. When we look at the month supply, which is going to be overall our buyer versus seller's market, if we have a give or take a 4 or higher month supply, we're going to be looking at a buyer's market. If we're looking at 4 or lower, seller's market. There's some gray area there and what exactly is a buyer's versus seller's market. But overall, we're seeing a 7-month supply in Grays Harbor. That's absolutely a buyer's market. 5.3-month supply in Lewis County, kind of a buyer's market. Thurston County, 23% higher than it was this time last year. So more of a buyer's market than it was, right? Percent of list price, we've seen 100% forever. We are now seeing not 100%. In fact, when we look at percentage of original list price, in Grays Harbor, houses are selling for 92% of the original list price. Lewis County, 94%. Thurston County, 98%. Okay. When we look at the days on market, Thurston County's looking at 35. Lewis County's looking at 70. Grace Harbor's looking at 90. And all of these are big jumps compared to this time last year. So what's that mean? It means sellers aren't having a good time. Buyers are having a good time if they can afford the prices. That's the tough thing for buyers right now, is a lot of them can't afford the prices, which is why we're seeing this. If it was super affordable and easy for everybody, this wouldn't be happening, right? All right. So now that we kind of know what is going on and what this all looks like, how do we close this guy? Why is that not working? It's not letting me close my screen share. Stop. There we go. There we go. All right. So now that we more or less know what the heck is going on, my windows are all messy now. Doing things live is stressful. I got to keep up with you guys, right? Put on a good show. So, what does that mean for you in your home selling adventure? Well, to be honest with you, homes are still selling fast if they're priced right. And by right, as a seller, it means low. To a buyer, it means fair, right? But to sellers, you got to price the home low. Homes are, in general, selling 30 days from either a price drop or going live. If your listing's on the market for more than 30 days, I'm sorry, you're probably going to have to drop that price. And we are still seeing bidding wars. It's still happening, but it's not happening on homes that are priced high or priced fairly. They're happening on the homes that are priced low, because if one person thinks, oh my gosh, that's a great deal, and they jump on it, so do 5 other people. The home is priced fair. People aren't excited. You've got to excite buyers with your home. One of the best ways, price. Marketing, other things help, but at the end of the day, price is always going to be the biggest factor. Now, if you're willing to be patient, a little stubborn, we are seeing some homes that are just sat on that people are being patient with. And they are getting sold, but they're taking a long time. Now that we're getting into spring, I don't want to see you guys doing a long time anymore. I want to see it moving quick, because we only have so much time here in the spring and summer before your home is going to be super stale going into fall, and then you're going to have to drop the price a lot. Okay. So as we're going into this market, price reductions are being more common. And something else I'm seeing a lot of is a lot of people that have a distressed property that they cannot sell. Maybe they're behind on their mortgage. Maybe they have something else going on, maybe divorce, right? And those are causing people to need to sell, and they're just sitting on it. They haven't paid the bank in 3 months, 6 months. The bank hasn't taken it back yet. They're going to, probably this summer. We're going to see a lot of homes hitting the market, not just because they want to, but because they need to. And the homes that need to are going to also be bringing our prices down. So let's talk about the biggest myth right now. How about I price high and we can always go down? That's not working. It's never worked in general, but it's not working right now. Why? Because when buyers see a high price, they don't care. They don't even want to try. They see another house with a low price, they get excited and go for that one. If your home is priced high, what'll happen? And we're seeing this right now with one of my listings. I thought we should list for about $430,000. We listed at $450,000. We dropped the price to $436,000, and we got one offer at $430,000 with $20,000 for closing costs. Because it was the only offer, it's the offer we went with. And it didn't go through. So now we're probably going to have to drop the price more. And when we drop the price more, the new offer is probably going to, again, be lower than what we're asking. It is always better to start low and have 2 or 3 people excited about that low price and then shove that price up than to have one offer that goes, I'll be brave, and offers low on you. I know it's tempting. I know you're leaving money on the table when you price low, but pricing is not a final sales price. Price is a marketing strategy. When your marketing strategy is, I'm going to find one person that wants to lowball, you're going to have a hard time. When your pricing strategy is, I'm going to be low and have a bunch of people excited and see who is willing to pay the absolute most for my house, that's when you win. There's three pricing buckets, okay? There's going to be aggressive. This creates competition. We're going to be slightly below the market value range. The goal there is to drive a bunch of showings, is to drive urgency. Hey, we have multiple offers, right? This works best to get you the most money in a short amount of time. Market value is most common. You price right where it makes sense and you'll get steady showings. We're talking hopefully 3 to 5 showings per week. This hopefully will get you a strong offer within a month. When you price for premium, because your property is one of a kind, it's the one you live in, it's so special, something we hear a lot, you're going to get 1, maybe 0 showings per week. You're going to really need to have a great view, some great acreage, maybe a major remodel, something that makes your property special. That's the only way this works. If your property is not a premium in some way, it's just sitting. It's just stale. Okay. And we do have one property right now out in Elma that has some acreage. That is a premium property, and we are sitting on it. We're waiting for the ideal buyer. But it's one of the only properties in town with that type of acreage, with that type of price, right? And so those are types of properties that we can aim for premium. For most folks here, your property is normal. We're not aiming premium, we're aiming normal, right? Market value or aggressive, or we're keeping the house. In this market, you either create urgency or you compete on condition, or you end up chasing the market down. And once you start chasing the market down, that is when you are absolutely going to be giving money away. You give away way more money pricing high and doing price reductions than you do by pricing low and having 3 offers, right? Here's another big thing. Search brackets, okay? Nobody is looking for a home for $426,000. Nobody's looking for that. People look in brackets, whether that is hundreds of thousands, 50s of thousands, or 25s of thousands. So if you price your house for $401,000, all those people looking $400,000 and less will miss it. We want to see brackets in terms of pricing. So $450,000 is way better than $455,000. $425,000 is way better than $426,000. We want to try to be in those brackets. It makes a huge difference because, again, pricing is just marketing. Keep in mind your price is not going to be final, okay? There's going to be negotiations in terms of the offer, in terms of the inspections, in terms of all kinds of other things. Your asking price is not your sales price. Now, how do we figure out this price? What do we look for? We're going to be looking for things that help us come up with an accurate price. We're not guessing. We are using other stuff to help us figure it out. We're looking at comparable sales. Now, there's not always going to be comparable sales if you have a house out of town. Sometimes even in town. If you have a small town, there's not going to be a lot of necessary comparables, okay? But comparables are a great place to start, and that's what Zillow and other websites use. We're going to mostly, when we're looking to sell a home, right now, in my opinion, look at active competition. If you are looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom in Chehalis, what are those going for? What makes your home a competitive offer, right? So the active competition is going to be a major driver. All right, we're going to introduce our mascot here. She's wants to be on the live apparently. I think there's a possum outside. So, no, be good. This is Bailey, team mascot. Okay. So the active listings in town are going to be possibly more helpful for us than the comparable sales because the market is shifting. If you have the cheapest 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom listed, that matters more than anything, right? Pending listings also help us. We can see what worked for other people. Maybe there's a buyer that wanted a house that missed out, and there was a 3-2 for $400,000. Well, if we list ours for $400,000, that could help, right? We also want to look at days on market and reductions. Just because there's another active listing doesn't necessarily mean that our home's going to sell for that. There is a chance. Can you just behave? You're making this hard. If there is another home on the market and it's been there for a year and hasn't sold, well, maybe we need to pay a lower price than them, even if we're the only one in town, right? Let's talk about the first 7 days on the market. If you're priced right, you should see activity fast, strong activity, lots of stuff going on, okay? Doesn't mean that you're going to get an offer right away, but we should see some traction. In the first 48 hours, we should see a lot of views, we should see a lot of saves, we should see showing requests coming in. In the first week, we should see consistent showings, okay? We want to see, again, 3+ showings per week, ideally 5+ showings per week. Even if there's no offers, if there's 5+ showings per week, we know that we have something going on. We got something good, right? By week 2 or 3, we should have feedback from buyers that lets us know if our price is an issue. If we've been on the market for 3 or 4 weeks and we got no showings, nothing going on, let's just be real here for a minute. We aren't priced right. Something is wrong, right? No showings is a price problem. Lowball offers are also a price problem. Plenty of showings and no offers can be condition, it can be financing, it can be inspection fears. But at the end of the day, in real estate, everything is always a price problem as long as the home is getting seen, right? So, does anyone have any questions? What kind of questions do we got going on? Okay. Should I price high to leave room for negotiations? No. Okay. You will not have negotiations if your price is high. If your price is high, you will not get the privilege to negotiate. You need to be low enough to get multiple offers. Once you have a bunch of offers, hey, you're in the driver's seat, right? The trick with negotiations is you've got to hold all the cards. If you have 5 offers, you hold cards. If you have no offers, if you have 1 offer, the buyer holds the cards. They're the ones negotiating on you. You never want to be the one on defense. You want to be the one on offense. That is where all the money lives. That's where all the success lives, okay? If we are desperate to get the home sold and there are no buyers, the buyers that show up control the whole show. And I have had that time and time again with my sellers and with my buyers. How do you price a home with no perfect comps? Okay, look, I said no guessing, right? We're always guessing a little, okay? I'm not saying we have no idea between $500,000 and $600,000. I'm saying we look at it and we go, hey, the neighbor sold for $650,000. Maybe they have more acreage, maybe they have more bedrooms, but we need to figure out what those buyers were, okay? Is the family of 4 looking for some room? Is it a homesteader looking for the cheapest thing? Even when there are no perfect comps, there are still comps for that lifestyle. And it might be in a big bubble, right? It might be someone looking for something with acres under $400,000. We can still find something that happened. And then we want to, again, price low because we don't want that one perfect buyer that spent a premium. We want 2 or 3 perfect buyers that are willing to spend a premium as long as we make them fight. If we make them fight over it, you win. If we make you beg for it, you lose, okay? Do upgrades matter? Yeah, they matter, but not as much as you like. Right now, a kitchen that costs $60,000 might increase your house value by 30,000. Okay, so right now, because of the cost of supplies, because of the cost of contractors, because of the cost of housing as a whole, a lot of the upgrades and a lot of things like that people are spending money on, they're losing. So upgrades do bring your home value up, but what we are seeing a lot of is people spending $100,000 and getting $50,000 back, and that's tough. It does bring your home value up, and it is something that you got to enjoy, much like you get to enjoy your brand new car, but it's not bringing up the value of people's homes as much as they like. What about my Zestimate? Let's talk about Zestimates for a minute, whether it is Zillow or Realtor.com or any other thing. What most of those are using is they're looking for homes they think are similar. They're measuring the price per square foot and they're applying that to your house. You could have one luxury, beautiful home in town, or a home with a bunch of acres that's not factoring right, or an absolute piece of junk home. If you are in the suburbs of Los Angeles, like it used to be, they get pretty darn close. Okay. But if you are in rural Chehalis and this house has 5 acres and every other house does not, it can really mess up your estimate. Now, I'm not saying that they're usually terribly off. They're a great ballpark and fun to play with, but don't be surprised if you look at your estimate this month and it says $450,000, and you look at it next month and it says $400,000. That's normal. It happens because the home is hitting the market and the homes that are being listed are changing, right? There might be a listing that pops up that wants $1 million per square foot. That's going to change the price, okay? And then the next month, a house with 50 acres might pop up, and that might change the price too. So they can give you a general ballpark and can be fun, but they are not accurate, okay? What if I need a certain amount to move? This question breaks my heart. Okay. If you need that dollar amount, you've got 2 choices. Very often you can price the home fair and keep it, which is going to be a low, I'm sorry. You can keep the house. If the price is not going to get you what you need, you can keep the house. Just because you need a dollar amount, that does not mean you will get that dollar amount. Okay. All that matters is what buyers will pay. Doesn't matter what you need. It matters to you. But if the house is only going to get $425,000 and you need $450,000, just because you need it, that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Okay. We need to work with what the market is asking for. In the same way that for the last however many years, 10 years, longer, we've been able to get more than we need, regardless of what buyers want to pay. We're on the other side of that now, where we're going to get what the market offers, regardless of what you want to get, unfortunately. Should I do a price reduction or offer concessions? It depends. I like price reductions. Buyers are a little bit more open to them. It's a little easier for them to understand. Concessions are typically going to make homes more affordable, but buyers aren't really going to understand that. The main time that I really recommend concessions. I guess first let's talk about what the difference here is. We're going to get rid of our assistant. Hold on. What is the difference? Price reduction is simple. We're asking $450,000 for the price or for the home. Now we're asking $440,000 for the home. What's a concession? Well, we'll do $450,000, but we'll throw in $10,000 to carpet, right? So when do concessions, in my opinion, make the most sense? In new construction, I love concessions. I hate price drops for new construction because we have a whole street to sell, right? We have 10 homes to sell. If we drop the price on one, that impacts all the others. If we do concessions, the sales price shows as being high still. So it really, really helps to do concessions on new construction when you got a whole block to sell. I do not love it for other homes because it's more complicated and it doesn't seem to get the excitement going as much as people need. How are appraisals doing? If there's an appraiser here watching, plug your ears. Okay? If you're an appraiser, please plug your ears. Appraisals don't matter. I have never in my life looked at an appraisal and thought, man, that appraiser knows what they're doing. I have seen so many appraisals pass that have no business passing. Whether it's really high, really low, I've been surprised on both. I don't have a lot good to say about appraisals. They pretty much always seem made up. They almost always seem like what the appraiser just feeling that day more than anything else, which makes me crazy. I think almost every appraisal I've had has passed. Almost every. The only appraisals I've had not pass are ones I feel like should have passed. The ones that shouldn't pass, they always pass. Appraisers, I'm sorry. I'm gonna give you guys a bad rep. Okay. Let's talk about pricing right and why it matters. Pricing right. Sorry, guys. My assistant is completely out of control. Give me one more minute. All right. She's being less than helpful and hard to catch. So we may or may not have a peanut gallery in the background. So pricing right. Why does it matter? Pricing right doesn't just help you sell faster. It helps with your net proceeds. You have less chasing. Okay. Helps with your terms. You're going to get better terms, which I know doesn't necessarily sound important, but selling within certain time windows and having strong buyers with strong financing, that goes a long ways. Having people that are scared, maybe feel like they're overpaying, it doesn't necessarily help your bottom line, but it does help your peace of mind, which lowers your stress, right? And it helps you with inspection leverage. If people feel like they overpaid and now they're getting this inspection that has 100 pages of things that are wrong with the property, they're more likely to cancel, okay? If they're overpriced and they have a bad inspection, which I don't think my listing's overpriced. The buyer felt it was overpriced. They dipped right away after the inspection, okay? That doesn't happen when they're competitive. They feel lucky to be there. So, if you want, send me a message, call, text, email. I don't care. However you want to reach out to me. I am so available. So many different ways. Send me a message. And I'll work with you guys on what you should price your house on. Whether it's listed already or not listed yet, it's totally okay. But send me a message, say price in the comments, whatever makes you happy. And we'll figure out how to get you a home valuation. For now, though, I do have to make some dinner. So I'm going to get out of here on you guys. Apologies again for the early lack of sound. Lives always give us a variety of challenges in those ways. I appreciate you guys hanging in there. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you know what to do. Call Castro.